Okay, so I have to turn my head too, huh?
There you go.
Okay, let's see.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you?
I am good. I'm good. I'm glad that we were able to finally connect and get this information out to everyone who needs it, of course.
Yeah, yeah. It's a difficult time for a lot of people.
It
So,
is. It is. And so, what I want to do first off is first share information about credit. But before we get started with that, just kind of give our audience, our viewers, some information about who you are, what you do, how long you've been doing it, and all of that good stuff.
okay, great. Thank you so much. Well, I am a credit specialist with FAM and
Hmm.
actually the head of the Credit Education Restoration Division. So I actually teach on credit all around for realtors and loan officers and mostly specialize in helping people get ready for their mortgages.
Nice.
So
Okay.
yeah, so that's how we met,
Yeah.
and I love working with realtors and loan officers that
Hmm.
really care about their clients like you
Absolutely.
do, and you're just helping everybody get to the point where they need to be able to achieve their dreams, and that's beautiful.
Hmm. And
Um,
I know for many of our audience members, they don't know, but you are actually my go-to person when it comes to credit repair specialists. So you have helped a number of my clients so far kind of get themselves together and put themselves back on the road to credit repair. So
yeah,
thank you so much for getting
it,
them ready.
it's teamwork.
It-
It takes all of us, to get it done.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, um, first off, so right now, as you know, Krista, we're in this kind of health crisis, if you will. And so with many people being laid off from work, their income, of course, is going to be affected one way or another, be it good, bad, or indifferent, but but mostly probably bad. And so I wanted to ask you specifically, what can our audience members do to continue to protect themselves in this crisis that we're in right now? Because for them, things are looking probably bleak, especially for someone who has pretty much has had maybe good credit and maybe has maintained themselves over a period of years, and then to see all of their hard work possibly go, up in smoke or flames, if you will. So how can someone protect their credit in the midst of what we're having or what we're facing right now?
Yeah, and first of all, I feel like the everything's still changing. So I'll preface what I'm going to say about this with that because one thing will pass and then a week later we have something else coming out.
Oh,
So with the COVID bill, they did put an amendment to the Fair Credit Reporting Act, which
okay.
was from the 1970s, a collection of 250 laws that govern the credit bureaus and creditors around what they can report. So they added an amendment, and to that amendment, it was basically saying that creditors, if if you called and got permission to put your payments on hold and things like that, that they could not report those lates. And that was great news. And we put out that news, and yay, we're helping people. But then the CFPB came back and they basically said that they aren't going to enforce that amendment, and they also aren't going to enforce that they have to investigate within 30 to 45 days of that. And
Hmm.
it's like, wait a minute, you can't like backtrack laws
Right.
now. Um, and there's now been movement to correct that and not allow them to do those types of things. So um, my best advice is to go ahead and do whatever you can to make your payments on time.
Okay.
If you need to make arrangements, that's fine. You have to survive first and foremost, but it's important um, that that there could be a little bit of obstacles around getting late payments if they erroneously reported late payments,
Mm,
even though they agreed to put those payments on hold.
okay. Okay. Um, so then next question then for if you're putting your payments on hold, you're saying it's not going to have a negative impact on their credit score?
Well, it has to be, in agreement with their creditor. And a lot
Okay.
of creditors have out statements on their websites or, you know, email newsletters to their clients. We are here for you, through all of this, which is, very nice to have that community feeling like we are
O-
all together. And so some will make arrangements for those payments to be put on hold,
Okay.
but it must be something that you already have arranged with them. So you have to call and have that conversation and get that done. Otherwise, if you didn't have that conversation, they could report it.
In
And
in light of what's taking place, they could still very well report it.
yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Hmm.
So then my next question then becomes, can they write a letter that can be applied to their credit report stating the hardship that they fell into as a result of this whole COVID-19 coronavirus situation? And if so, um, is that letter that is written going to be held against them being part of their report?
That's a good question, and I wish I knew a positive answer. It's
Okay.
still so unsettled, all of this. And as far as that letter goes, it's more of a lender that, may need something like that. And perhaps lenders, because, markets crashing, they need people to be able to buy.
Okay.
And so they may end up using allowing that kind of a concession
Mm.
because of everything that the whole world is going through right now, and they're very well aware of that, and they need buyers.
Okay.
They need the money to keep going around.
Okay. Okay. So then just to kind of pivot a little bit the conversation, and let's say that all things were normal and you had a new client that you were working with that was in your program. Can you share with our audience specifically if they're trying to go and improve their credit score, maybe from a 550 to a 640, or I should say now it's going to be a 680 because that's the new lending guidelines and requirements for purchasing a home. So if someone were starting off at a 550, 595, or the high fives, low six, how long does your program take for them to get to the next bracket if they're trying to get into the 700, 800 FICO score?
Yeah. Well, our program is 6 rounds, and
Okay.
we recently began a program. It's normally 6 rounds over 6 months, but
Okay.
we now have an accelerated route where they can go have a round every 3 weeks, so we can get done, um,
Okay.
within 4.5 months.
Okay. Oh,
Um, yeah, exactly. And in those rounds, we're covering all the laws under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So by the time we get done and we're really getting aggressive with some of the things, you can kind of tell some things from the answers that they send. Um, then, um, then we know we've done everything that we can in those 6 rounds.
okay.
Um, Sometimes people are done sooner, but
It just depends.
it depends.
It just depends. Okay. Um, Question, because I know there are going to be some questions specifically about mortgages, and I know you may have talked about that a little bit, but with mortgages being delayed, is that also going to have a negative impact on credit score? Or is that still something that should be worked out between, the seller or the owner and the mortgage company?
Yeah, that would be between the right now, as of right now, it's still between the mortgage company and the debtor. And you know, I I completely believe in having solutions that that are lending to to everyone coming out of this okay.
Okay.
Um, but they still have not um, solidified any policy around that. And
Okay.
so, yeah, it would have to be an agreement as of right now.
Okay. So as we wrap up, what would be the top 3 to 5 things that you could recommend to consumers right now as they're in the midst of this, crisis right now? As a credit repair specialist, what are the top 3 to 5 things that you would recommend that they continue to do so then that way their credit does not negatively affect them and they can come out either rolling in with their credit staying the same, if not even improving?
Yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. Um, Everybody's in different financial positions right now, and some people are having a hard time making their mortgage payments or their rental payments or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Certain things that aren't reporting, like the rental payments, until they're a collection later on, might
Oh,
be something that, you can kind of hang on to for, I don't know, um, just to make sure that you're able to pay all of the accounts that are reporting
mm-hmm.
if you haven't made an arrangement with those creditors to, um, have reduced payments for a moment, for during this time or um, that kind of thing. Uh,
Okay.
so that would be two. And then, just, yeah, definitely do what you can to make those arrangements, make those payments if you can, um, and kind of take into account, what is currently reporting and what you might be able to catch up with later that doesn't affect your credit right now.
Okay. Okay. Anything else that you think that our consumers, audience members would need to know right now as they continue to face, the uncertainty of where we are? I know I did hear you mention continue to make their payments on time, of course. Um,
Payment
Possibly to
arrangement.
make payment arrangements with their creditors.
Yeah.
But anything else that you think would be beneficial to them knowing at this time?
Well, yeah. So it depends on, so your credit report is basically a picture of what's happening right at the moment that you get your credit pulled.
Mm-hmm.
So, as long as you are in the position when you do get your credit pulled for your mortgage in the future,
Mm-hmm.
when you're ready to buy your home, excuse that, the when you're ready to buy your home, um, you can use your credit, um, and have your utilization high. You can ask for credit limit increases if that is something that you need to get by right now.
Mm.
Um,
Before
and
it actually has a negative impact. So you can ask for a credit increase now while your credit score is still decent, should
mhm,
you need to use it.
yeah.
Okay.
And it would help also with your revolving credit utilization and, to keep it kind of more balanced because you do want your credit um, reflecting 1 to 19% utilization ratios on those revolving cards when it comes time to get your credit pulled. But they
Okay.
don't know the behavior before that. They don't know if you were close to the limit before that. It really just matters what it's at when you're applying.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying now 1 to 19% on revolving debt?
Yes, that's the sweet spot.
Okay.
Now, a lot of people hear about 30%. Under 30% is good. That's
They can say normally we always share when we're meeting with the client for the first time when we're doing, I know for me, when I'm doing a consultation, my rule of thumb is if you have credit cards, make sure you are with at least no more than 30%, within your credit limit. So then that way it doesn't have a negative impact on your credit. So
hmm
you're saying now it's 1 to 19%.
Well, actually, that's good advice. 30% and above does have a negative impact,
Okay.
but 20 to 30% is neutral.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
Zero, having your balance at zero is neutral, but between 1 and 19%, for whatever reason, they calculate that in the formula as if you are using it the most possibly responsible way. Um, so
So 1 to 19% is the best, you said, or is that the 20 to 30%?
yeah, 1 to 19% is the best. 0 is neutral, and 20 to 30 is neutral. Anything over 30 has a detrimental effect to an increasing degree.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. So they don't really look at having zero. So if someone, okay, so then just for my own clarification, if someone does not have credit at all, it sounds like that's not good either.
No, you're right. Actually, 10% of your credit is made up of the types of accounts you have open.
Okay.
And you have to be building positive credit to continue to raise your credit
Great
score. And
score.
yeah, so
It's weird
basically,
how that works because if you are someone who has just graduated, let's say that you are graduated senior, going into college, you have no credit. And you know how a lot of credit card companies sit on the campuses asking students to apply for credit cards and saying, oh, you don't need any type of, you don't need a job, if you will. You only have to make a payment of $5 a month or what have you. Well, we know that's not realistic. And the student runs into a credit issue, of course. But in the same token, not having any credit at all is just as bad.
right.
And if you're wise, what I hear you saying, if you're wise, it's okay to have some credit. It's just not good to have no credit at all.
Yes,
Okay.
right. You could possibly get your credit pulled, and if you've had no credit history at all, you could have no scores either. So it is good to have something. And I would recommend for folks needing to build their credit applying for secured loans
Mm.
or
I was
secured
just getting
credit
ready to say,
cards.
what do you recommend to someone who has no credit but needs to establish credit? What can they do to, um, and not just establish credit, but actually get it to a place where it's in 750, 800 and maintain it there?
Yeah. Well, we have awesome resources on our website. So if you go to www.myfam.com,
Okay.
F, you can go to the resources section and
Okay.
then build my credit box. And then you'll see a list of credit cards with minimum scores and also some installment credit options. Like our favorite is Self Inc. It used to be called Self Lender. They just changed their name. It's called
Okay.
Self Inc.
Self.
And it's
Okay.
basically like a savings account, but you put in $25 a month and that counts as an on-time installment credit
Oh, okay.
payment every month. Yeah.
Okay,
It's awesome.
nice.
Hmm.
So then there are steps that people can do to establish credit. Now, let's say that you are in the rebuilding stage of rebuilding your credit. Like I said, because you have maybe a low score, maybe you're working with someone who's starting at 300 or 400 and they're trying to build to that. What steps or what advice or tips can you give for someone who's rebuilding? Or is there any special strategy, if you will, that can get them to that high score?
Well, it's quite complicated. There's so many factors. And credit reports are like thumbprints. They just all look different. So it depends on what they have going on. Um, Mainly, if they do have negative credit, reporting that has the highest effect. 35% is your credit history,
Okay.
credit formula. And so positive credit, awesome. I've had clients that had perfect credit. It was like they were like fluctuating between an 820 and 850 for years.
Oh, nice.
And one particular story had their teenage daughter used a card that they didn't normally use and they didn't know they had a payment, and oh man, was that guy mad. But that brought him down below 700, believe it or not. One payment, because the recent late payments or the recent negative activity outweighs the older stuff too. So number one, keep making your payments on time.
Okay.
Keep on making payments on time. Number two, There are a few ways, and it gets complicated. So if you you can always contact me or contact Martise to get a hold of me
Mm-hmm.
um, with regard to getting negative credit removed. But that would make a huge impact. And then 30% is what you owe. So we're talking about, you know, six different components there. And one of the six is your revolving credit utilization we were talking about. So that's a good one. And then also the types of accounts you have open. We recommend having 2 to 3 revolving accounts, 2 installment accounts.
Okay.
So if you have, for instance, someone in your family or a close friend that will allow you to become an authorized user on one of their good standing long history accounts,
Uh-huh.
that could be a big help because it'll help add history, length of history,
Mhm.
uh, you know, a good utilization ratio, hopefully. So there's so many things.
I heard that once. Now, is there a difference between being a signer and an auth is it signer or is it the authorized user? Is that how it works?
Yeah. So, like a cosigner, you mean, would be like
Yeah,
somebody
because
from,
there's a difference.
or,
Yeah,
yeah,
I heard that you can use someone else's credit history so that you can improve your history.
right. So,
Okay.
you can do that on revolving with adding them or adding yourself or, you know, you, if you're the one adding them. Um, Basically, just add them as an authorized user. We do have a cheat sheet that I think you might have it. So people can ask you.
I hear from you.
Yeah, you can get it from me. I think I sent it to you, but you, so you can probably find it in your email, but I'll send it to you again. But
Okay.
it's an
All right. It's nice
authorized user cheat
to them.
sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and with the authorized user cheat sheet, you can kind of see the behaviors of certain companies and how they report
Okay.
authorized users because they do vary slightly. Sometimes one company will report the new authorized user as, you know, just beginning. You know, this
Hmm.
is a new open account, right? They just, you know, and sometimes they'll report the history as if you were on the card since it opened.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, so you want to look at the details like that.
Okay. Okay. So as we wrap, I have one question because I know a lot of maybe our audience members would like to know. Um, what sets your company apart from the next credit repair company? You know, what is it that you guys do differently, or what products do you guys have that you offer that the next credit repair company does not have?
Yeah, I understand. There's so many credit repair companies, and honestly, we started this company because we wanted to be an answer that people could really trust
Mm-hmm.
um, and you know, act in integrity in everything that we do.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of credit repair companies that don't give this industry a good name.
Mm-hmm.
They're taking advantage of people that need help, and so we're here and we're honest. Um, you know, I will be very honest about exactly, you know, the types of actions that you need to take.
Mm-hmm.
We'll give you complimentary advice, and also our credit restoration program if
Mm-hmm.
negative needs to be deleted from the credit report. We're highly successful
Okay.
at helping people with that.
Okay.
So that's a big one.
Okay. Okay. No, that's enough. Um, I'm looking at a message here.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, I think that's it. I see we have a few people online. This Shannon, Mia, do you guys have any questions for Crystal that she can answer for you specifically? I know both Shannon and Princess, and I hope they don't mind me calling them out. They have college students, and so
Yeah.
again, the conversation about college students not necessarily having credit but needing to build credit would
Yeah.
be of importance to them. Yeah. So and
Right.
establish that now.
Plus, I didn't even mention that we have an amazing student loan solutions division for the mortgage industry.
Okay,
So,
good.
yeah, we can
Yeah.
talk about that.
So for those that are online with us right now, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you? Can you share your information with them?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, you can always call me, and my number is 469-473-4008, or feel free to email me at Crystal, and it's Crystal at myfam.com. So
My,
that's at myffam.com.
okay,
Yeah.
perfect. So we'll leave all that information to in the link that we're going to share and provide on our Facebook page, and then of course on the Instagram page, and then you can share it on your site as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I could put in our website, and all that information's on our contact page too. So
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate you, Crystal. And so again, for those of you guys, if you have any questions, definitely reach out to Crystal. But be sure to follow us on our Facebook page, our Instagram page, and of course our YouTube channel, because we're always constantly posting there. And again, if you guys have any type of real estate needs, be sure to reach out to me and my team, and we'll be more than happy to assist you and get you on your way. But most importantly, we want to make sure that you guys keep your credit scores up so that when this is all over, you're riding into the sunset. So until next time, I'll talk to you guys soon, and you guys take care now. Bye-bye. Bye, Crystal. Thank you.
thank you.